request. Okay, so we have something called as HTTP servlet request. Yeah, so basically this HTTP servlet request is an object. Sorry, it's an interface. Okay, so HTTP servlet is an interface which is present in a package, something called like javax dot servlet dot HTTP. Okay, so inside this package, this HTTP servlet request will present. Similarly, we have something called as HTTP servlet response. So this is also an interface. So why we are using this reference variable like interface reference variable? The reason is whenever we are going to give a request. Okay, so whenever we are going to give a request from the browser. So in the browser, we are going to enter the URL and then we are going to click on it button. Okay, yeah. So whenever we are going to give URL or give a request, okay. So after entering the URL, we will click, sorry, we will go for clicking the enter button. So that will give a request from the browser. We are going to give a request for our application, and we got to know like in the URL what are the things has to be there. Okay, in the URL like we need to maintain the protocol, followed by the domain name must be there. Okay, so domain name is nothing but the application. So host name, so where my application is present. Okay, so domain name is the thing, but in which system or in which server the application is present will be known as domain name, followed by the port number. Okay, so in that server, what is a web server that will be consisting of our application? And then we need to have some path in the sense like application name and the URL, okay, or the resource name. Okay, so application name and for which, so in this application, what is the resource you are trying to access, right? Sorry. Yeah. So in this scenario, okay, and you might have seen in previous session. So just whenever I'm going to give a request, I was passing some information in the request, right? So I was passing like mobile name, SIM. Okay, so I was passing in the URL. Okay, so by using some question mark, and given a name and key value. We might have, yes, we are given a name and key value. Name I was given as mobile, and key some mobile name I was giving, and one more value we were passing, like one more name and key value we were passing. Name I used to give as sim, and then the sim. Okay, so sim name like value I used to pass them some sim name like Geo or Airtel, like that I used to pass. And after that I will give it enter. Okay, so after that I will just click on enter button. Then so once I click on the enter button, so obviously like this class. Okay, so this class will be like inside this class this do get and method will be executed. Now so here do get a method. Okay, so somehow like this method will be executed. Okay, so we will see that. But the thing is like how we are going to receive this, whatever the value we are going to pass, that value how we are going to receive inside this class. What is the scenario? What how we are going to receive? So whatever the request, okay, so whatever the request we are going to send for a particular resource. Okay, so in that HTTP request, whatever the HTTP request will be there, that will be given to the web server. So my web server is going to convert that HTTP request into a HTTP servlet request implementation class object. Okay, so basically like this is an interface, right? So this is an interface. So basically, what is the purpose? Like our okay. So from the browser, whatever the request we are going to give. Okay, so browser, whatever the request we are going to give. Okay, supposing that we have a we are going to give a request from the browser. Sorry, browser. And in the browser we might have seen that like as we are making use of that HTTP protocol, then basically like we call technically we call it as a HTTP request. Okay, so we call it as a HTTP request. So from the browser, we are going to give a HTTP request for the particular resource. Okay. So for a particular resource, we are passing this HTTP request. Okay. So in this, like we will be mentioning that what is the domain name, everything. Okay. So domain name, sorry, protocol, domain name, port number, then path, which consists of like application name and the resource name. So in that application, what is the resource we need to access? Followed by, we might have use this query string, right? So we will be making use of this query string, and then we will be going for passing the values. Some of the values we used to pass to this one. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So it will be okay. So whatever the HTTP request we are going to pass will consist of like the URL, as I said, domain name, and sorry, protocol, domain name, port number, followed by the path. Okay. So along with that, it will consist of the information. Okay. So in this request, so we will be having the info to be given given to a resource. Okay. So basically, like whatever the information we are going to send, that will be okay. Whatever the information we are going to pass, okay. So over a network, we are going to pass some information. That information must be given to a dynamic resources. Okay. So whatever the information we want to pass, that most of the time, like all the informations will be given to the particularly a dynamic resource. Okay. As we are passing some information, now we need to access. Okay. So in this, in our dynamic resource, that is nothing but like in our class. Okay. So in this class, we want to access that information. So to access that information, we need to receive, right? So first we need to receive, then only we can access. So what are the information we are going to pass doing this HTTP request method will be given to my class in a form of this HTTP servlet request object. Okay. So whatever the request from the browser we are going to pass, that will be converted into an object in a sense of like object of type HTTP servlet request. This conversion will be taken care by the web server. Okay. So I hope, okay. So like from the browser, whatever the request we are going to give. Okay. So whatever the value, like name and pair value or any information, we are going to send to my dynamic server. So in this, while passing, it will be in the form of a HTTP request. Okay. That HTTP request has to be converted into a Java object. But like you might have seen, like we will be having the URL, right? That URL has to be converted into a Java object. Like we guys know that, like in Java, we are familiar with the classes and object only. Whatever the information is there with respect to an like object, we can access easily. So that is the reason whatever the request will be received from the browser to any application, that request we are going to convert. So web server is going to convert it into a an Java object. Okay, so Java object of type HTTP servlet request. Then it is referred by a reference variable REQ. Okay, so it is referred by a reference variable REQ. And so that is the reason. Okay, so in HTTP servlet request, we have a method, something called as get parameter. Okay, so get parameter is a method which accepts a argument and returns also string argument. Okay, so get parameter is a method you can see, so which is present in Java x.servlet.servlet request. Okay, so we will see like this servlet request is a super interface. Sorry, it's an abstract class. Okay, so it is the implementation of this HTTP servlet request. And so yeah, Yeah. So this get parameter method basically accept a string value. Okay, so it is going to receive a string value. So and also returns me a string value. Okay, so it is going to accept an argument in the form of a string, and it is going to return me the value. Okay, so what are the value we are going to pass from the browser to the dynamic resource or any resource. In that, like what are the value we are going to pass with a name and value we need to pass. I said like what are the information we are going to pass, it will be passing with a pair of key, right? So here I'm passing the name as mobile, and what is the value I will be passing, that will be written in the form of a string. Similarly, I'm passing a name as sim, right? So in the previous session, like we are, you might have seen, like I was, yeah, yeah, I will tell you now. Amma, okay, so we, sorry. So here, uh, yeah, in the same request, we are also passing one more value, name, like value name as sim, and parameter. Okay, so sim and yeah, so the value I was passing with some sim name, right? So yeah, so that is also like okay. So if it is of yeah, so I'm just passing the name and I'm receiving this one. So now let us add one more variable. Okay, so now I will add like okay, okay. So fine. First I will run this. Sorry. Okay, so what is the endpoint name I was given? I forgot. Okay, so the endpoint name is QS, and followed by a query string. Okay, so mobile to will pass like ABCD is the mobile name, and I will use and percent to pass one more value. Okay, so that is like sim. I will pass the sim name as like okay, so geo, and I will use one more variable, and I will try to pass. Okay, so let us go with num, which is equal to 25. Okay, and then I'll give a request. So yeah, you might have seen like my God, yeah. So guys, here you can see I'm getting a blank page, right? I'm getting blank page. The reason why I'm getting blank page is, so as Javid said, okay, so in this dynamic process, I'm not making use of this response object. Okay, means like I'm not giving any response for that for that request to display on the browser. Whatever the response user is whatever the request user is giving, for that, like I need to give some response. I need to generate some response, but I'm not generating that response to display the browser. Instead of that, I am making use of this SOP statement, like println statement, to print on my console, right? So that is the reason I'm not getting any response, and I will be getting that blank page. Yeah. So here you can see the mobile name. What I said, like ABCD, I have given SIM name. It is giving geo only. Okay, and I have sent one more value, right? In the browser you can see I have sent like num, and the value I'm going to give as like 25, but I'm not getting that one, right? So I need to write a logic to get that value also. Okay, so what is the logic we need to write to receive if I want to get the num value? So the logic is simple. So I'm passing on my request So I need to invoke a request. On the request, I will be invoking a method known as like request dot get parameter. So request dot get parameter. Now I will pass the parameter name. I'm going to pass the parameter name as num, right? And as I said, okay, so it is going to return me a string integer. So it is going to return me a string value. So now what I'm going to do is I will declare a variable as string. Okay, so num equal to I will use. Now if I want to perform some mathematical operation on this number, so can you tell me like how we can convert this string into an integer value? Give one student. Yeah, so by using these wrapper classes that parse methods, we can convert into a string to integer value. Okay, I hope you got to know. Okay, now, so we will write a logic. Whatever the response we are going to receive, that will be displayed on my browser. So we are going to write a logic here. Okay, so here we will try to today we are going to provide an implementation or a write a logic. Whatever the information we are going to receive in a form of a request, that will be displayed in the browser only. Okay, so for that we need to make use of this response object. Okay, so here we need to make this response object, and inside this response object we need to add the print statement, then only that will be displayed on my browser. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just I will go for using this response. I'm going to invoke a method something called as like get writer. Okay, so get writer is a method which is present in this http servlet response. Okay, so which helps me to return me a object or return me a object of type print writer. Okay, so return me a object of type print writer. I'm going to declare a reference variable as like output as like oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to declare a reference variable of as output of type print writer. Okay, so print writer is basically like a class which helps us to print something. Okay, so maybe on the browser you want to you can print. Okay, yeah, so it basically helps us to print on the browser. So prints formatted representation of objects are to a text output stream. Okay, so it helps me to print on the browser. So after this what I'm going to do is okay, so yeah, so I got this print outer object. Now I'm going to use this output dot sorry output dot. So here also we have a method like println method is there. Yeah, so here also we have a println which accepts like you can see, so boolean value, no value, boolean value, so everything will be present. Okay, so I'm using this println and I'm passing the value. Okay, so I'm going to write in a HTML format. Okay, so I'll be using the string, and then I will go for like h1 tag. I will be using the h1 tag. Okay, and here I'm going to write mobile name. Mobile name. What is the mobile name we also received? I will be concatenating with the value. Okay, so here I'm going to concatenate with the value mobile name. Okay, so once this is done, now I will use again one more printer statement and I will try to print the oh yeah, so I need to close this h1 tag, right? So for that I will use the double quotes and then I will close the h1 tag. And now I will go for printing the one more. Yeah. So mobile name. Fine. Okay. So after that, I will go for printing the SIM name. So then I need to close this tag. H1 tag has to be closed. I will use this tag to close it. Okay. Then I will go for again make use of this one, and I will try to print the num value. What is the num value I am going to receive? Num VALU. And it was stored in a variable something called as num, and again close the HTML tag. So that's all. Okay, so now I will save this. So I'm going to save this, and I will restart my server. Okay, so to restart the server, I will go for the server tab, right click on it, okay, and then click on this restart. So why I need to go for restart? What is the reason? The reason is like whenever we are going to change some implementation in the dynamic resources, we need to go for restart the server. Whatever the changes has been done, that has to be affected. So that is the reason we need to go for restart the our web servers. Yeah. So restart is done. I will go back to the browser, and now I will give, okay. So instead of ABCD, I'm going to change it to mobile name as like, okay. So yeah, okay. I will give, okay, XYZ. Let it be XYZ. SIM name, okay. So I will going to give the SIM name as VI, and the number I will pass as like 300. Okay, and I will give a request. You can see what is the name I was passing. I was passing a name as XYZ. I will be receiving that SIM name I was passing as VI. I am receiving it, and the num value I am passing as 300. We are getting it. Okay, so now you guys create a class. Okay, so create a class with a name as so you need to create a class example for query string 2. Okay, so example for query string 2, and inside this again same thing. Okay, so we'll go for extends or algorithm. Yeah, so HTTP servlet, which extends HTTP servlet, and just go for adding this do get method in it in this class. Okay, and so here you need to write a logic. So you need to write a logic to receive. Okay, so in the request, so in the request, in the request, you will get two. Sorry, you will get two num values. Okay, so numerical values will be received. You need to display that. Okay, so you need to write a logic to display the num value on the browser plus go for addition operation. Okay, so will you do that one, guys? I hope you receive the question. What about others? Okay, so you will be having 10 minutes. Okay, so complete that, then I will show you. will be received here. And then num2, so num2 with the value will be passed in the browser, that will be received here. So once I receive that, then I have created a simple print writer object so that I can display some message on the browser. Then I am going to make use of this println method, and inside that I have added a h1 tag, and I'm going to write like num1 value. What is the num1 value I have received? First I will display, and then num2. What is the num2 value I have received? I will be received. Sorry, I will be displayed. Then I have written a statement like addition of num1 and num2. Okay, so here I'm performing the addition of these two numbers, and like I have went with the integer.parseInt method. The reason why I have went with this parseInt method, because you would have seen, so I have whatever the value I'm going to pass, that will be returned to me in the form of a string. To convert from string to integer, I have written this logic. So is that clear? Do you have any doubts here? Okay, fine. Okay, guys. So now let us create a simple UI in my HTML and try to interact with this one. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a yeah. So what I'm going to do is I will just create a simple HTML. Guys, follow. Okay. So on SRC main. Okay. So web app here under this web app, I'm going to create a simple an HTML file. The file name I'm going to give it as register.html. Okay, the file name I'm going to give it as GISTER register.html. Okay, and I'll click finish. Yeah, so now I got this HTML page. Now what I'm going to do is just I will give title to this HTML page as register. Okay, and like I think like we have created the database in the name as user. Don't know. Okay, so see, so I will go for the give title name as I'm going to give it as register. Okay, and then I will add a message. Okay, so I will use the h1 tag and I will add a message. Register. So user form. Okay, so register user form is the message I will be adding here. Then I need to create a simple form so that I can take a input from the user. Okay, so I can take a input from the user. Now, so in this form, I'm going to declare a label tag. Okay, so why I'm using this label tag? To give a label. Okay, so particularly to display a label for whatever the thing you want to give, so that I just need to or just want to give a label, so that I will be making use of this label tag. I'm going to give the label as ID. Okay, so ID. Let user enter the ID, and I will give an. So now I need to collect this ID. So for that, we have something called as input tag. Okay, so inside this mention the tag as number. Okay, and then I need to give a name for I'm is a name we pass. Then I will use some BR tag so that I can give a break in this. Okay, then I will use again this label tag. Okay, so here I will mention the name. Okay, so I will ask the user to enter the name. So name I will collect it, and so I need to go for again if I want to gather some information. I said like we need to make use of input tag in the HTML form. So here, in this input tag, I'm going to pass again type. What type of information user will be entering here? So it will be a text type. Okay, and the name I'm going to give it as like user name. Okay, so for this tag, okay, or for whatever the information user is going to receive, for that I'm going to use the name as user name. And again I will use this two breaks so that it will give a break and come to the next line. Okay, so then I will collect the user mail ID. Okay, so I'll just use the label tag and enter email. Okay, so email, and here I will go for input tag, and I will gather. I will give the type. Okay, so type in the mail ID will be in the form of a text, right? And then the name I'm going to give it as like email. Email ID is the name that I will be following. And then again, as usual, breaks. Then I will give. I'm going to declare one more label, and I will collect from the user is password. I'm going to collect or gather the password from the user, and then I will use an input tag. Okay, so here I'm collecting the password, so I can mention like else we have something called as a password type. Okay, so just go for password type. Like as we are gathering the password, it will be of type password. Okay, so it will we can enter alphanumerical values also. It will so this is a simple form. So now, okay, so now whenever I'm going to give a request, sorry, whenever user is going to fill this form and click enter. Okay, so click enter or click on the submit button. Okay, so click on this submit button. That information has to be given to my dynamic resources. Okay, so let us create a dynamic resource with a name as like registration form. Okay, or like class. Let us declare a class something like registration form or save user info. Okay, so save user details. Let us first create a class. The name of the class I'm going to give it as like save user details or save user servlet. Save servlet is the class where I can gather. Okay, so I can collect the information. So now I need to make this class as a servlet. For that, I'm going to extend the HTTP servlet. Okay, so I'm going to extend the HTTP servlet. And for the sake, like, okay, now let us explain. Like, I will go with the adding the do get method. Okay, so I will add the do get method here. Fine. Now, whatever the request from browser is going to fill, okay, so whatever the information browser is going, sorry, user is going to fill in this form, that information has to be given for this particular class. Okay, so that information has to be given for this particular class. Fine. So now, guys, okay. So if I want to pass or if I want to give that information to this particular class, now I need to have that endpoint for this class, right? I need to have an endpoint for this class. So first, let us create a endpoint over the URL for this class. I'm going to copy this fully qualified name of a class. Then I will come back to the web.xml. So here I'm going to create a simple or I'm going to create a endpoint for this class. Okay. To create an endpoint, we are going to make use of these two tags. One is servlet tag and servlet mapping tag. I hope you guys have not completed this register form, right? Guys, did you copy this one? Yeah. First, you create this form, guys, and then we will go for configuration. I hope. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will be waiting. Okay, so I hope right. Okay. Now I will go for the class. Yeah, so for a configuration class that web.xml, I have used the servlet tag. Here I'm going to mention, I'm going to give a servlet name. Name for the servlet, I'm going to give it as like save user is the servlet name I'm going to give. And then I will give the servlet class. What are the fully qualified name of a class I will be copying? Just I will copy here. Okay. Yeah. So then I will go for using the servlet mapping tag. So now here I am going to give the servlet name. Again, I need to mention the servlet name. I will mention what is the name I have given here. The same name I'm going to give. Okay, so the name as like servlet, so sorry, save user. And I will be mentioning URL, sorry, URL pattern. I will give the URL as save and I will save this. Okay. Now inside this, I will write a logic to get the details. Okay, so get the user details. I am going to write a logic. So first in the request, I would, yeah. So I will be receiving the name. Okay, sorry, first ID, right? Get parameter. I will be receiving the ID. What is the name we have given for the ID? So in the HTML tag register.html file, we can see the name I have given as ID. Okay, I will be pasting that ID. Yeah, I'll give the ID and I'm going to declare a string string ID of type ID, and we know that user is going to pass the ID. So I will be saving that with like I will be collecting a reference variable ID of type string. Why? Because like we got to know this request parameter method is going to return me a value in the form of a string. Then I'm passing name. Okay, name for the name user, whatever the user is going to give a name, I will be giving a name or name attribute as like name. Okay, sorry, username. I will declare one more. I'm going to invoke this on the request. I'm going to invoke the get parameter method and I will pass the value or the name, the naming convent I will be using as username. I will be passing that. And then I'm going to declare a string user name, a reference variable, and I will be collecting that. Okay, so similarly I'm going to pass the email ID. The naming convent I have given for the email ID I will be collecting here. So in the servlet I will just on the request I will be getting the mail ID with a name as email ID. Okay, so now I'm going to declare a string variable email and I will collect it here. And I'll be getting the password also, right? So password, the naming convent for the password I have given as password. I will gather it here. String password equal to request dot get parameter, and here I'm going to pass the name as password. So whatever the information will be filled in this form, after clicking submit, I need to receive for this particular class, right? I need to receive this particular class. So then just I will go for like in this scenario, just go for SOP statement and I will try to print. Okay, so let us try to print it here. So ID equal to in the console we will get the output. What are the ID we have received plus I will go for using slash n so that it will be printed in the next line, and name equal to what is the name will be passed by the user in the form. I will gather here plus. After that name, I will go for email. Okay, hello. Sorry, we will use the next slash n so that it will be printed on next line. Name equal sorry, email equal to what is the email we have received. Yeah, so with a variable as email that will be printed in the console. and I will use plus concatenation. Okay, so slash n so that it will come to the next line, and I will try to display password. Yeah, what is password? Which is equal to what is the password user is going to pass. I will let us display in the console first. Okay, so it is having error. I will clear this and we will get it. Fine. Okay, so now whenever, like I said, like whenever user is going to submit that information, I need to give that complete information to this particular class. Now to make so, okay, so in this register form we need to make use of an attribute, something called as action. Okay, so this action attribute is used to pass. Okay, so inside this form whatever the information will be given, okay, so inside this form whatever the information will be entered or given by the user, that we need to pass to a dynamic resource. So for that I'm going to make use of this action tag, and this in this action I'm going to mention the so action. So whenever user is going to give a submit, click on the submit or registration register button, this information has to be given to this particular class. Okay, so particular class. So for that reason I'm going to make use of this save in the action. So when user is clicking on the register button, all the information will be given to this particular class, server class. Okay, now I will restart my server. So I have done some changes. So I'm going to restart the server. Yeah. So once the server has been restarted, just I will take the naming of this register.xml HTML file. Okay. And come back to the browser. So I'm going to come back to my browser. Come back to my browser. And in the browser, I'm going to give a request for this static resource register.html. Yeah. So I got a form, right? So here I'm going to give the ID as 101 and the name I'm going to give like name as Dinga. Dinga is the name I'm going to give, and the email ID dinga at the rate some abc company dot in, and the password I'm going to give it as like 1234. Yeah, so I use the type as password. That is the reason it is hiding, guys. Okay, so once this is done, then I will go for click register. Yeah, so you can see here. So what are the name, what are the ID, what are the name, email, password I have given, that was that will be present in this URL, right? So let us see in my console whether that has been printed or not. Yeah, so I'm receiving this ID, right? So here in the console, you can see, guys, I'm receiving the ID. What are the ID I passed? 101. The name I have given as Dinga. The email I have given as like dinga at abc.in. And the password I am passing as like 123, right? So now I will give you some time. Okay. So after this class, you guys sit and provide an implementation to interact with the JDBC. Okay. So that is nothing but like, okay. So let us, you guys can create a user class. Okay. So create a simple user class as name. I'm going to give it as like user, and the package dot DTO, right? DTO is the package I'm going to give. And inside this user class, just go for create a Java bean class for the user. Okay, so I'm going to create like private int id. Okay, so then private string name. Okay, name. Okay, so or else like, okay, so go for like username, username. Okay, then I will go for like private string of type like email. Okay, so email, then private string password. Uh, I think like these are the four values I'm passing, right? I one, two, three, four. Yeah. So first, I have a no argument constructor as well as fully parameterized constructor. Okay, so constructor one is like I want no argument constructor. Just I will create this no argument constructor. Fine. So similarly, I will go for creating the argument constructor. Okay, so full argument constructor I will be creating. Done. And along with that, I will go for using the getters and setters. Okay, so I will add the getters and setters for this Java Bean class. Yeah. So then I will go for add the toString method also, so that sometimes I need to display. So at the time I will make use of this one toString method. Fine. Okay. So similarly, you guys need to declare one more class. Okay. So similarly, one more class. The class name I'm going to give it as like user DAO under a DAO package. Okay. So here you guys provide the implementation. Okay, for the save method. So okay, let us initially okay, so make it as a boolean value, and the method name I'm going to give it as like save user. Okay, so which accepts an user object. User user. Okay, so here you guys need to provide implementation to save user into database. Okay, so so inside the database. Okay, so then once the operation has been successful, then you guys need to return true. Okay, so if the save operation has been done successfully, you guys need to return the value as true. Yeah, sure. So guys, I hope you guys have been clear, right, with the user and the user DAO classes. Do you have any doubts? What about others, guys? Only one candidate is responding. What about others? Okay, so here in the save user, just yeah. So this is non-static method is there in the save user. So what you guys need to do is okay. So inside this save user, okay. So here I will be creating a user DAO class. Sorry, user DAO class DAO or DAO equal to new DAO. And similarly, after reading all the values, I'm going to create a user object. Okay, so user equal to new. Oh yeah, so new user with the all argument parameter. Okay, so here convert this id from integer type to string type. Okay, so for that, like, sorry just invoke the integer dot parse int method and pass the string value as id. That's all, it will be automatically converted to this. Now, sorry. Yeah. So now instead of printing this one, okay, so here invoke that DAO dot save method by passing the user, and we know it is going to pass me as again. Okay, so it is going to pass me a true if save operation done successfully. If save operation has been done successfully, then go for like display a message user saved successfully. Okay, so you collect. I'm going to do this. Okay, so I'll be collecting a result in the form of boolean value, result of type boolean. Okay, and then I will comment this line. I don't want to display on my console user details. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, yeah, simple. I will be taking. Okay, so first I will create a print writer object. PRI. So I will just go for creating print writer object. Okay, as output. So from the response dot get writer method, by using this I'm going to create this object, and then I will display if. Okay, so if result is true, then on my browser I will write to, sorry, I will use this output dot println method. Yeah, so println method, and here I'm going to pass the an h1 tag, and then I will display message user info saved. Saved. Else I will display a message stating that user info not saved. Fine. You guys can perform this operation. Yes or no, guys? And one more thing, like inside that, like here inside the user DAO, you guys need to sit and write a logic, create a database uh, as, like, you can give the database name as servlet and the table user. So inside that, okay, yeah. So inside the table, have the column like ID to store the ID of type integer, name of type varchar, and email of type varchar, and password is also of type varchar. You can have. Okay. So will you come up with that solution, guys? Will you complete that one, right? I hope. Or do you have any questions here? Yeah, right, right. Yeah, yeah. So as this is of type like Maven project only we are working, right? So just go ahead and dependency. Okay. So just for adding the dependency, guys. So this type like Maven project only is what are the dependency I have added for MySQL connector. Okay, so we send here. We'll copy this dependency and add this dependency to this to my pom.xml. Okay, so once you guys add the dependencies, so add the dependency and click save. So once building is done successfully, 100% has to be done. Okay, so then click on your project, right click on your project, just go for Maven and go for update project, select force update of Snapchat and click OK. Yeah. So then whatever the jar files we are required will be added to your page. So please show web.xml. I'm getting okay. Where is that web.xml? Yeah. Akash, have you completed like saving up to the draft is done? Okay. So complete that one also. Okay, so guys, today what are the things we have learned? What are the concept? Like, just we have start with the request object. Okay, so what is this request object? Or like before that we went like why I'm invoking this get parameterized method, and what is the return type of this get parameterized method, what is the value it is taking, we have seen. Then we have seen like the HTTP request from the from the user, whatever the HTTP request is going to give to a particular resource, that will be that information. Okay, so that URL will be converted into an HTTP servlet uh, request object. Okay, so it will be converted as a HTTP servlet request object. And this HTTP servlet request object, we are going to make use of this, and we are going to get the values which are sent by the user. That's what we have seen. And like one or two example we have done and we have seen, and then we have went with the response. Okay, so we have learned like what is the use of this response object. Okay, so the use of response object is to whatever the information we want to pass. Okay, so as a response for a particular request for the users, that will be pasted out, that we are going to add inside that object. Okay, so inside that HTTP servlet response object, we are going to add whatever the response has to be given for the user. And like that. Okay, so again that response will be converted into an HTTP response as like by the our web container or the web servers. Okay, so whatever web server we are going to make use, it will helps to convert an Java object into the information that user can be seen on my browser. So everything will be done by this web servers, guys. Now, okay, then we are like we have done an task on like adding the two numbers. We have seen the program like how to get two values from the user and perform addition operation and display as the output, we have seen. Okay, so after that I have given a task like to save the user. Like we have created a simple register.html page, and inside this we are gathering the ID, name, email, password, and all. Then I'm clicking on the like whenever I'm clicking on the register button or the submit button, that information will be given to a particular class or a servlet known as like save user servlet, where we need to sit and complete the complete implementation of save the user information into a database. That is a task given for today. I hope everyone will complete this. And along with that, like you guys need to create one user class in the DTO and one user DAO in the DAO package. And whatever the saving or interaction with the RDOS application logic has to be done, that will be present in the user DAO class. Is that clear? Okay, fine. Changing the password. String query program. Which one? Last string query program I didn't get like. string query program is like which one you're asking for? Like, okay, so example two, this one. Okay, where we were, guys. Fine. Yeah. So try to complete this one. Origins.
Hi, good morning, sir. Good morning, guys. I'm audible. Good morning, guys. So this is Pallavi from Web Online. So guys, have you already using that QSpider app? Are you using a QSpider app or not? Yes, no. So guys, if no, so is it visible? This is the steps to how to install QSpider, GSpider, and PySpider app. So as you know, the first step is to you need to download that app from Play Store. You need to download that app from Play Store. Second step, click on the icon towards the right side corner of your top corner. Click on the icon towards right hand side your top corner. Just take a snap of this if required. If required, take a snap of this. If not, if you'll able to remember, it's okay, guys. So this is a third step. Click on the create account in the bottom of the page. Click on the create account in the bottom of the page. The fourth step is type your email ID and password should be your number. Set branch means web online or online, guys. Web online or online. Set branch is a so password should be your number only, guys. So if you find any difficulties, if you're facing any issue while installing this app, you need to call to this number. So, what is the purpose of this app? Means you can check your profile detail, mock rating, fees paid, and also you can check upcoming new batches details. And when HR share your profile to the companies, you will get a notification also with the deal name. Guys, you can check there also. If you're already using, it's okay, guys. It's okay. Those who are not, take down this. So you will get a notification on QSpider, JSpider, and PySpider as well. Branch Web Online. Branch Web Online. So guys, take a snap of this. So once you're done with your class, just go through it for 2 minutes, at least for 2 minutes. This is the common comments which we need to tell for all the students as a HR. This is the common comments, guys, for all the students. Is it not available in Play Store? Is it not available? Guys, done. Shall I stop sharing my screen? I waste. Okay. So user IDs are this one email ID only, Anant. Okay, yeah, that's it. Once you're done with your class, go through that, guys, and check out that app. Own email ID. Yeah, own email ID only. One second, share third and fourth slide. App name QSpider, guys. Here it's there, no? QSpiders. And this is second one, second slide. And third step, take down this. Done. And this is the fourth step. Guys, those who are already using, ignore it, guys. Shall I stop sharing my screen? I'm stop sharing my screen now. Okay. Java people should also. Yeah, Java people should also use QSpider only. Yeah, that's it, guys. Check out that app and download it. And if any queries, please ask me tomorrow. I'll give a clarity. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so guys, so whatever task has been given for the partial implementation has been given, and the code will be shared in the classroom. You guys can get the code there and try to complete it by end of the day. Okay, so fine. And HTTP server status 404. Srinivas, share me your Anydesk ID. Okay, so we'll take the access now and I will see. Okay. Fine. That's all, guys. Okay, so the code is available in the classroom. You can check, go through that, and try to complete the task by end of the day. Fine. Have a nice day, guys. Take care. Bye.